Hi, Amy. So I understand that you're a director of math at Quid. Can you tell me a little bit about Quid and your role there?
Yeah, absolutely. So at Quid, we're building analytical and visualization tools for people who work in strategic analysis. So we bring together a huge number of different kinds of data sets and let them kind of visually explore it so they can figure out how to make decisions. So as you can imagine from that, there's a lot of kind of interesting data and analytical problems that we've got to solve. And so I'm involved in prototyping methods that we should be using, figuring out how to use different data sets, and then also working with our engineering team to knit those into the stack that we've been building.
Great. So you presented today, right? So how did it go? What was your session on?
So I had a lot of fun presenting, actually. What I was talking about is the need for maps over lists, even when you're exploring non-spatial data. So the idea here is that a lot of the information and the content that we can consume is available in unstructured text format. So if you think about all of the news and blogs that post that people write, so it's a huge mine of information that can teach us a lot about complex problems that we might be facing. But it's very difficult to navigate if all you've got is a big stack of things to read. So network visualizations are being used in more and more different ways these days, and we've been exploring using them to create topical maps, so we can map the similarity between documents, and then you can see a whole conversation emerge or a whole technology landscape emerge from the data. So I was sharing that with people and telling a few fun stories along the way.
That sounds great. So I know things are super busy at the conference, so there's so much going on, and I know people are pulling you off for meetings and that sort of thing. Have you had a chance to attend any other sessions? Like, what have your impressions been of the conference so far?
Yeah, so I've got to see some really fun and different sessions. So this morning, I think one of my favorites was the keynote by Kate Crawford. So she was talking about kind of some of the dangers of big data. So, for example, if you're doing a Twitter analysis, is Twitter data really representative of the population that you're looking at? She also kind of made the pitch for needing deeper data rather than just bigger data. And I think that's something that we've cared a lot about. How do you think strategically about data? Another theme that I've seen has been conversations about how you bring people into the loop when you're doing computation, so algorithms plus humans. So there was a talk yesterday by the group doing kind of citizen science, so bringing people in to analyze galaxy data, and by the team at Factual, looking at how you bring people in to help the computation. There's also an interesting keynote yesterday by the group from Stitch Fix, looking at, again, recommender algorithms, but this time having people at the end of the pipeline, so being the final deciders on what the output will be.
So any advice for anybody that's just starting out that wants to work with data? Would you have any advice for them about what they should do?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, it's a really exciting field, and there's a lot of great problems that people are working on now. So it also seems like there are a lot of kind of computational scientists who are getting interested in this field in particular, who are bringing a lot of great skills with them. I think that kind of the two pieces of advice that I give people, so one of them is that one kind of barrier for people is actually getting their hands on messy data, so making sure they've looked at some of the kind of data sets that you might have to use if you're working in the tech space. And so it's a really good idea to go out there, scrape some data or make use of an open data set and just build something. Get curious, try something out and see what you come up with. And that goes a long way in job interviews and just having conversations with people in these roles. I think the second thing we're finding is that having some experience with software and thinking about software is really valuable. So a lot of scientists in particular have done a lot of scripting, but not necessarily writing shared code. And so taking opportunities and looking for opportunities to build software collaboratively with other people is going to teach you a lot of the stuff that you need to start learning.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for your time. I know things are really, really busy and we really appreciate it.